Greetings. I am Dayton Tennyson, an MBA candidate from West Palm Beach, Florida, and I'm doing my presentation on organizational structure and design and organizational theory and analysis. So, organizational structure is the formal system of task and authority relationships. It controls how people coordinate their actions and use resources to achieve organizational goals. Um, for those who understand the importance of organizational structure, um, then they understand how effective it is in terms of management. And here are the elements of organizational structure: division of labor, how tasks are divided into specific jobs; departmentalization, grouping of jobs into departments, which can be based on functions, products, geography, processes, or customers; hierarchy, levels of authority in the chain of command within the organization; span of control, the number of subordinates a manager can directly control. So basically, like if I'm a manager, how many people I'm in charge of. Centralization versus decentralization, the extent to which decision making authority is concentrated at higher levels or dispersed through lower levels. Um, so basically, in centralization theory is basically, those who the CEOs and the managers and executives make the decisions, and the whole company follows these, as opposed to like decentralization, to where each sub level has their own set of rules. Um, and then there's formalization, the degree to which rules, procedures, and communications are written, or explicitly articulated. It just in terms of like, code of conduct, mission statement, just, it's different per company. Moving on to types of organizational structures, you'll see here we got the functional structure, which organizes employees by which the job they perform. For instance, the marketing sector, which you'll have a marketing manager, a marketing research analyst, and a content creator, right? Then you have here the divisional structure, which organizes employees by the products, services, or geographies. So, for instance, you'll have a consumer electronics division, a solutions division, or maybe a healthcare and technology division, and then it goes down the line, such as that. Then you have the matrix structure, which combines function and division, creating dual authority lines in which people have to, heed by. For flat structures, few management levels promotes faster decision making. That's because there's basically little to no middle management. So basically, you have your CEO, COO, CFO, and then you have your product management teams and your sales representatives, and they report directly to the executives instead of there being a middleman, like them being managed by somebody. Uh, it just cuts that out, and it promotes faster decision making. That's said in the PowerPoint. And last but not least, you'll see in the network structure is just a central organization that outsources a lot of its key functions. So let's say your design team, right? You don't have anybody specifically on your team that could sit down and make graphics. You're constantly having to look out and go pay other men, pay other people, um, just to do designs for you, do graphics for you, things of that nature. And that just goes along the line, like product and supply chain, customer support and IT. You're just constantly having to get help or pay other people to do that for you. So moving on to factors influencing organizational structure. Uh, Whatever structure you choose should align with the organization's strategy. So for instance, functional, divisional, flat, things that were discussed in the previous slide, whatever structure you choose has to align with your strategy. It has to make sense for you to move forward strategically. And then you have environment, where you can see that it says the adaptation to environmental changes and uncertainties. And certain uncertainties can be technological advances, so things like AI, automation, right? So market dynamics, in terms of let's say customers decide to change what their preferences are, or like maybe market saturation, economic conditions like recessions, inflations, or like changes in or shifts in economic power, can all lead to organizations adopting leaner structure strategies, to reduce costs. And then moving on to technology, right? The type of tech used can influence the most effective structure, such as, let's say, increased flexibility and agility, right? Enhanced communication, and collaboration, which is always big. The easier you can reach out to any team member or anybody else within your organization to get a job done, improves effectiveness. Automation and process optimization, right? So, in terms of automation, let's say we cut out the middleman in terms of me driving the truck and the man who has to load everything into the truck, and the man who creates the destination map, right? Let's say we have, for automation, we can cut out the man who loads everything into the truck. Now we have a robot that can do it in his place, which lowers industry costs because now you don't have to hire that kind of employee anymore, right? So in a way, cuts out the middleman, and improves your technology in the process. And lastly, we have size, right? So the larger organization, the more the more often it requires a more complex structure to manage increased number of employees and activities, right? So basically, the bigger the corporation in terms of Amazon, right, the more people you're going to need, instead of a place like eBay, right? Now, eBay is pretty big. Amazon is a corporate giant now. So in terms of the technology that you'll need, the employees that you'll need, it and in which the environment that you have to continue to worry about, all of those things are enhanced because of the size. Moving on to designing an effective organizational structure. So as seen here, number one, align with your objectives, right? Ensure that the structure supports the organization's goals and objectives. So if my goal as an organization is to foster uh, my employees' ability to, let's say, graphic design, right? Then I'm not going to be aligned with a network structure because all we're doing is focusing on outsourcing, right? So number two, promoting coordination and communication, just basically facilitate effective communication. If I'm a sales associate and I'm having problems getting into my work account, I should be able to reach out to anybody on IT and they should be able to help me without any issue, right? And then number three, ensuring flexibility, right? Allow for adjustments as the organization grows or as external conditions change, right? So let's say our competitors are getting better with automation, and they're seeing more profit because they're reducing their costs, right? So now I need to be able to look into my company, or we need to be able to look into our company and see which ways we can also reduce costs and also improve our profits, you know. And then supporting decision making, number four, right? So ensure that the structure supports effective and timely decision making, and that's pretty self-explanatory. So now we're diving into the challenges in organizational structures, right? So balancing centralization and decentralization, finding the right mix for effective decision making and responsiveness. Just basically, whoever's making the orders, making sure that the orders and the rules are getting to everybody, everybody effectively, so nobody's left in the dust, nobody's left wondering, what they need to be doing or what the goal is for this certain week or certain month or certain quarter, things of that nature. Managing complexity, handling the increased complexity that comes with larger organizations or more diversified operations, right? So just as things get harder or things get more complex, having the capabilities to make sure that we're doing the right thing in terms of you know making sure we're getting done what we need done as a corporation, as an organization, and then maintaining alignment, continuously aligning the structure with changing strategies and environments. As we spoke before, like if my job is now, or my goal is now to create more of a divisional sectors in which we have more things that we can sell from. Now I'm going to need more middlemen employees to go handle to sub off these different sectors, so they're more in charge of these things, so I'm not overwhelmed and we get things done more effectively. And that's my presentation on organizational structure.